Hi friends, it's Jess with Our Bipolar. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, just a little bit about me. I have bipolar 1. I was diagnosed 25 years ago when I was a sophomore in college. And today is World Bipolar Day. So happy World Bipolar Day. This is a day celebrated every year on March 30th. And this day is a great day to spread awareness of bipolar disorder and also try to eliminate stigma surrounding this disorder. So today we're doing our AMA, just like we've done in previous years. So I have all the questions right here and I'm going to get started. Okay, so the first question is, what are the most recommended prescriptions to treat bipolar? Now, I'm glad I looked at the questions ahead of time this year because I had to look this up. So what I found was that lithium is the most frequently prescribed mood stabilizer, and in second is Depakote. Now, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but Depakote is the med that I did really poorly on for the first 8 years of my diagnosis. Now, just because I did badly on Depakote, it doesn't mean you will. You may do great on Depakote. I currently take Lithium, which apparently is the #1 prescribed mood stabilizer, but you know, Lithium might not work for you. Now, this is according to a 2013 study, and any study I talk about today, I will link down in the description box for you. Okay, question number 2. What is the average amount of medications prescribed? So this information comes from a 2015 study. I also had to look this up. And apparently patients with bipolar take an average of 3.3 psychotropic medications. So a little over 3 is the average. Now, the average total medication for someone with bipolar, so that's including psychotropic drugs and non-psychotropic, is 6 medications. So I was thinking about this. I take 2 psychotropic medications. I take Lithium and Seroquel, which is an antipsychotic. I take another drug as needed for migraine. And then I take Aimovig, which isn't a pill, an injection that I do once a month. So that's 2, and then I do birth control also for migraine. So I take a total of 5. So pretty close to the average of 6 total medications. Next question. Does anyone feel hopeless that bipolar will continue to dictate the rest of your life? I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who feel hopeless in this sense. I have felt this way at times, but I no longer feel hopeless. I know that bipolar will dictate the rest of my life. I have to plan my life and everything around it, but I am no longer upset by that. I have learned to live with bipolar. I still have symptoms at times, and I still have times when I feel down about the fact that I have bipolar. But for the most part, I have come to peace with it. Okay, next question. What are the easiest and hardest aspects of having or managing bipolar for you? I'll start with the hardest. I think for me, the hardest things are not being able to live the way I did before my diagnosis, having those rules in place. So I can't stay up to all hours the way most people can. I can't drink alcohol anymore. I have to be very, very careful on what I do every day of my life. I have to be super careful about traveling and going on vacation because good stress is just as bad stress for bipolar. So I don't like that I have to live my life so carefully, but at the same time, those are some of the things that have become the easiest for me because it's become such routine. And actually, you know, having to do a lot of these lifestyle changes have made my life better. I feel like I'm healthier because of it, just physically healthier. And mentally healthier. So I think overall it is in some ways a good thing, dare I say. How do you explain or withhold having bipolar to your daughter? Wow, coming with the tough questions. So I do talk about having bipolar with my daughter. My daughter is 8 years old, but I do limit what I tell her. So she is known for many years that sleep is very important for me. And if she has a reason to be up in the night, she has to go to her dad. She should not wake me up in the middle of the night. She also knows, we talk about the fact that my brain is different from most people's. And because of that, normally stress affects me a lot more severely. So I have to be very careful in that way. She doesn't know the word bipolar, at least not for me. She pretty much sees me living the average life, I would say. I haven't had many symptoms, at least not severe ones, since having her. So I have had hypomania and depression, but a lot of the depression happened when she was at a really young age, so she wouldn't remember. And the hypomania is not very obvious to her. I'm very good at not only masking, but also taking alone time when I have hypomania so that the symptoms will hopefully go away more quickly. But she does also know that I have this YouTube channel and social media. She knows that at times I go and speak to the public about bipolar, but she doesn't, like I said, know the word bipolar, that's what I'm talking about. And she knows at times, I've done interviews, and I want her to be proud of her mom, of course. And I want her to know that this is an illness that can be lived with, and you can thrive. And you will have symptoms. So you won't thrive all the time, but you can thrive, and I hope she sees that. This sort of leads into the next question. What do you find most rewarding and most challenging with advocacy work? For me, the most challenging part is that sometimes if I'm having a really stressful time, like a really stressful week, I cannot do any advocacy work. I can't record videos for this channel, and I can't speak with NAMI about my life, mostly to high school students. I don't want to have the advocacy work cause more bipolar symptoms. So I'm very careful about that. So that can be challenging. It is so rewarding to, especially speaking out in the community. And I love doing YouTube. It's really fun, and it is therapeutic for me to be so open and talk about my life and just kind of be out and proud. Because for so many years, I was not like that. For 20 years of the 25 years, I was not public in any way, and I did not disclose bipolar. So if you're out there and you don't feel comfortable speaking out about it, that's fine. Do what is right for you. Aside from medications, what are your go-to therapies for high symptom periods? That's a great question. So for me, sleep is the number one therapy for high symptom periods, aside from medication, of course. And also getting exercise, huge. Not forgetting to eat, making sure I'm eating regular meals and eating as healthfully as I can. If I'm having a lot of symptoms or starting to have symptoms, I will cut out any caffeine, any sugar, because those things could spur it on. I can have a little bit of sugar and caffeine when I'm stable, but if I'm having symptoms, yeah, it's not a good idea. Let me think. Any other things that I do? I really try to get alone time. I try to isolate myself. I know that sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually great for me to not have a lot of outside stimulation. So I also will like stop listening to music. I try not to watch TV as much or be on social media, but that's hard. Those things are hard for me to cut out. But I will also, like, if I have plans with friends or, you know, there's events going on, I try to limit social activity because that will just make everything worse. How can family members best support? My daughter-in-law has bipolar disorder, and I want to support her as best I can. The way I think about it, trying to support someone with bipolar disorder is just the way you would support anyone with any other illness. This is what I would like people to do for me, and you may feel differently. If I was really sick with a physical illness, let's say I had the flu or COVID, something like that, you know, this is what I would want as well. So I would love for people to, of course, check in on me, ask me how I'm doing, and ask, what can I do to help? Now, the person you're asking with bipolar disorder might not feel comfortable, you know, volunteering what you can do to help them. So this is what I would like. I would like the person, first of all, to be very patient with me, very kind, and, you know, I might be baiting them. If I'm having hypomania or mania symptoms, I might be very argumentative and trying to bait them into an argument. I would love for the person to, if they know I'm having these symptoms, to really give me a break and give me the benefit of the doubt and not feed into it as much as possible. I know it's hard. I would also love, if I don't ask for this, I would love for someone to come to my house and maybe like do a load of laundry, bring me food for dinner, just clean up, because at that point I'm not going to be doing these things for myself, and that includes if I'm going through depression. I would love for someone to do something like that. You know, if people know that I have a child, I would want someone to say, hey, can I take your child for a day? Or, you know, whatever they can do. I mean, I understand everyone has their own lives, but these things really make a difference to someone with bipolar, especially me. If I am in a state where you think I am a danger to myself or someone else, like if I'm in a full-blown mania and if I'm having psychosis, I would also want you to try to contact my doctor and see if there is a next step. Do I need to be hospitalized? Does my medication need to be adjusted? I would want someone to step in that way. Now, like I said, everyone's different. Okay, please talk about lithium and having kids. So I could do a whole video about this and pretty much most of these topics. So first I'll say that yes, I took lithium while I was pregnant with my daughter, and there was a lot of conversation surrounding this before getting pregnant with my psychiatrist. My psychiatrist told me, and there are studies out there, newer studies that show lithium can cause heart defects, but the chances of lithium causing heart defects is actually much lower than originally thought. And I'm not sure if all psychiatrists are aware of this. Now, there still is a heightened chance of birth defects. But in my case, just for me personally, the chances of birth defects if I went off the lithium and, you know, went into mania or was cycling during my pregnancy, the chances of birth defects were much higher than the chance of this heart defect on the lithium. And I have shown, you know, I've only done well on lithium, so there wasn't a great chance of me trying another medication and having it work during pregnancy. Now, I will link to some studies that are concerning this down in the description box. But so there are many people who say, many psychiatrists even, that say you should not take lithium while you're pregnant. And yes, that would be the ideal situation because it can cause heart defects. and it is slightly higher than in the general population. But for me personally, and I had to have this drilled into me by my psychiatrist because I was so concerned about this risk of heart defects. Just for me personally, there was going to be a much higher rate of birth defects without the lithium. So I did stay on it, like I said, and my daughter was completely healthy. Do you have a sense of trust in yourself? Yes. And it says, if so, how did you develop such trust? I think it took me having some really long-term stability before I started to trust myself. It was not easy, and I went through 8 or 9 years of incredible instability with bipolar, those first 8 or 9 years. So I had zero trust in myself. And then once I had, my new psychiatrist, who I'm still with today, so 17 years ago, I started seeing him, and that's when I got on lithium. And it still took a while after that to really trust myself because, meds aren't enough. And it took me a while to really learn and put into place lifestyle changes that worked for me. So I still needed the sleep component. I needed to get regular sleep every single day. I needed to be really careful on, how much socializing I did. And I also needed to add in the exercise and, there's lots of things, of course. So once, maybe a couple years after I started lithium and I finally got all of that working for me, and don't get me wrong, I still had symptoms after that, but I was no longer having the full-blown mania with psychosis. So that was a huge step for me. And once I started going for longer periods of time, I really did start to trust myself. And then once I started dating Brian, my husband now, at some point he went in for an appointment with me, with my psychiatrist. And my psychiatrist was saying how, I really know how to keep stability, and I'm kind of like a well-oiled machine where I know how to handle it once I do start feeling symptoms. And he was just talking about me in such a way that I hadn't really thought about myself. And I was just like, wow, he trusts me so much. I need to think about myself this way. I need to trust myself that I know what I'm doing to remain stable as much as possible. So I think that really helped me, and to have someone else tell, my boyfriend who I was going to marry, and it was really a turning point for me. Do you think therapy or seeing a psychiatrist should be part of routine healthcare? And if so, for children as well, just like eye or dental exams? Yes. 100% yes. Everyone needs therapy at the very least. I mean, maybe not every person needs to see a psychiatrist. It depends on if you are having a true mental illness that you need medication for and treatment. But therapy, of course, everyone needs therapy. I need therapy. Do you have a psychiatric advance directive? No, but I should. And I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about how I should put this in place. So a psychiatric advance directive, I don't know a ton about it because I don't have one, but it's sort of a plan. So if you are not able to make decisions for yourself in terms of your bipolar disorder or whatever illness you may have, then you have this plan that is already pre-written out saying what you would want to do. Maybe it has to do with only wanting to try certain medications, or maybe saying yes or no that you would try ECT. Just examples, but it really does spell out what to do if there is a crisis and you can't make your own decisions. All right, and final question. Do you carry a medical alert card? No, I don't. Should I? I've never I've never considered that or heard of someone with bipolar carrying a medical alert card. I mean, doesn't sound like a bad idea. I just never considered it. All right, well, that's all the questions. These were such wonderful questions. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you on World Bipolar Day and doing another AMA. It's been so fun. And I have so many more videos that I need to do. So stay tuned for that as well. And thank you for being here and watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.